Welcome to the channel, welcome to the stream everybody. So tonight we are actually going to react to the Y-Files Roswell alien interview. You know it is, I know it have you alien lovers out there, so let's take it in. If you guys want, you guys could also check out my Twitch channel. I actually will link it on the video as well. You go and follow up, subscribe over there. Also follow and subscribe on YouTube as well. Let's get right into it, guys.
Y-Files is brought to you by the Wellness Company. In 2007, Lawrence Spencer found a thick envelope in his mailbox. It was full of military documents from the 1940s. Some were routine duty rosters and schedule memos. Some were stamped top secret. But all were from Roswell Army Airfield. Spencer also found transcripts of strange interviews. At first, they couldn't communicate with the subject. The military brought in translators, scientists, even cryptographers, but nothing worked. Finally, they learned the only way to communicate was telepathically. And there were pages of predictions, warnings, strange technology, and a secret war. Nothing made sense. Then Spencer found a page that explained everything. It said Roswell AAF, 509th Bomb Group, Alien Interview, July 8th, 1947. Documents and mailed them to Lawrence Spencer. She read his book about unexplained phenomena, the Oz factors. She decided he was the only person who might take her seriously. Her letter was handwritten and desperate.
I have kept this secret for 60 years. Now I'm 84 years old. I decided to tell this story because I think people should know the truth.
Her story started July 8th, 1947. Matilda was a flight nurse with the Women's Army Air Force assigned to the 509th Bomb Group at Roswell. When she got to base that morning, she knew something happened. There were armed guards at places that didn't have guards yesterday. Unfamiliar faces everywhere. Some wore uniforms, some wore suits, but all of them seemed nervous. Matilda was on her way to the station hospital when two MPs asked her to follow them. They were polite enough, but she knew it wasn't a request. A colonel met her at the entrance of a hangar. He told her that a craft came down in the desert. They recovered a survivor, but it wasn't responding to communication. Her job was to determine if it needed medical attention. Matilda thought it was strange he used the word it. She had no idea what it could be, until they went into a dimly lit room at the back of the hangar. And there in the corner, sitting on a small chair, was a being. About 3 feet tall, gray skin, large head, no hair, 3 fingers on each hand, no nose, no mouth, no ears. Its body didn't look biological, more like a doll made of plastic or rubber. No internal organs, no reproductive system.
Yeah, hairless plastic doll body with no reproductive system. Sounds like it was just, Ken.
Please, I don't need Mattel's lawyers coming after me.
Fine. Hair.
First thing first, if you bunks up something looking like that, in the real world, I'm telling you, most people might just actually get a heart attack and actually pass away. Because nowhere in hell that going to be normal in any kind of way. That's actually going to be pretty crazy to see something like that. Actually, a lot of mysteries out here. Let's get into it.
Hairless plastic doll body with no reproductive system. Sounds like that thing you got hidden in your closet.
Okay, can I get back to...
Technically, your doll kind of has a reproductive system.
That's enough.
Help!
The men were treating it like a problem to solve. Matilda treated it like a patient. She walked over calmly and sat down next to it. No visible injuries, no bleeding. Whatever this thing was, it didn't seem to be in pain. She leaned forward to speak, and before she opened her mouth, a thought entered her mind. But the thought wasn't hers.
Not injured. The body I occupy is not a body such as yours. I do not require food or atmosphere, but I need water.
Matilda expected to be afraid, but she wasn't. The thoughts were calm, familiar even. She sensed this being was female and she wasn't dangerous. Matilda introduced herself with a thought, and the being responded the same way.
I am called Errol. You are the only one here who does not hide their thoughts from me.
She interviewed Errol for 6 weeks. The transcripts filled hundreds of pages. Errol told Matilda about a war that had been going on for thousands of years across thousands of galaxies. A war that most humans didn't know about, and couldn't. Because, according to Errol, humans aren't what they think they are. Not even close.
Yeah, in universe, I actually think it have nothing else or nobody else. From my speculation, I would believe that it actually have other things out there because the universe actually so vast, there's so much of different planets and stuff like that. So to think we are the only ones, so it have nothing else living on some other planet would be kind of crazy though. I believe it do have though. I wouldn't call it alien because the term alien is was make it really weird, but some kind of humanoid, so some kind of different race, you know.
Matilda spent 6 weeks telepathically communicating with an alien being who called herself Errol. Errol was an officer from the Domain, a civilization that controlled about 1/4 of the physical universe. Not the galaxy, the universe.
The domain has operated in this region of space for trillions of years. Our civilization is ancient, above all others. Our only goal is to progress.
The Domain operated on planets, moons, and asteroids across thousands of galaxies, but they weren't alone. An older civilization called the Old Empire had controlled this region of space for a very long time. And the Old Empire ran things differently. Where the Domain expanded through exploration, the Old Empire maintained control through force,
Human
nuclear
expansion,
weapons,
yes.
electronic warfare, and mind control on a planetary scale.
Mind control on a planetary scale. Wow. I think the CIA just lit a cigarette and said, that usually doesn't happen that fast.
The two civilizations fought for thousands of years. Eventually, the Domain won. The war was over. Or it should have been. The problem was the Old Empire had bases, equipment, and automated systems scattered across thousands of worlds. Most shut down when the government fell, but some systems kept running on their own, and one of them was in our solar system. Errol was sent to investigate. Her craft was hit by an electrical discharge that knocked out navigation. She crashed outside Roswell. Matilda asked how she survived the crash. Why wasn't she injured or in pain?
I am an ISBE, an immortal spiritual being. An ISBE exists as pure awareness. We can create, move, and perceive across any distance. We only use physical form as a tool.
So, bodies are optional. Errol's people put one on for a mission, then took it off when the job was done. The gray body sitting in that chair at Roswell was just a vehicle. Errol explained that every conscious being in the universe is an immortal spiritual being, even humans. But Matilda said humans aren't immortal, and they obviously can't project their consciousness anywhere in the universe.
You can, and you have for many years, but not since you were sent here.
That's when Errol explained the truth about Earth. It wasn't a planet, it was a prison. Errol said all humans are ISBEs, and we're traveling the universe as pure consciousness for thousands or even millions of years. We even have memories of our infinite lives, but we're cut off from our abilities because Earth is a prison. The Old Empire built the prison around 8000 BC and started filling it. Political dissidents, artists, freethinkers, anyone the regime considered dangerous. The Old Empire called them untouchables. That's us.
They put free thinkers in prison? It sounds like Facebook in 2021.
It does.
Or Canada today.
Okay.
And England.
I got it. Billions of us dumped on a backwater planet at the edge of the galaxy, placed into fragile bodies that suffer, age, and die. Death should set the spirit free, but a shield around the solar system prevents escape. If Earth was the prison, the shield was the fence. Errol described each step the way an engineer describes a machine. When a person dies, the shield detects the spirit and pulls it into a processing station. There,
This is actually a theory that actually was talking about for a while now. You're trying to say that yeah, no plenty of people believing that humans are immortal and we just reincarnate and all them different stuff. Why that be just come back into a new body or a different body and stuff like that. So it's kind of based on that theory where that we actually trap on this earth and we spirit doesn't leave the earth even though if we passed away and stuff like that. So interesting.
memories are wiped, not just of the last life, of every previous life. gone. Then the old empire runs a second program, hypnotic implants. They project images directly into the spirit's awareness, a tunnel of light, dead loved ones, spiritual guides. That's why all near-death experiences sound the same across cultures. It's in the programming. None of it's real. It's a recycling system disguised as an afterlife. Then memories are implanted, creation stories and moral codes designed to trigger guilt and obedience. Once the spirit is wiped and reprogrammed, it's sent back to Earth in a new infant body. Die, forget, return. This was control that spanned across lifetimes.
Control across lifetimes. Well, it sounds like my ex-wife's wet dream.
Which ex-wife?
All three of them. Perpetuity is their love language.
Every religion, every war, every system of power, all part of the prison design. Even rapid biological aging is a containment tool. The domain conquered the old empire thousands of years ago, but the Earth prison operates on its own. Its systems are still active. But Errol said there is a way out. You have to do the one thing the entire prison is built to prevent. You have to remember. Errol said the real history behind the prison, the planet, everything was much more complicated than we thought. We were part of an intergalactic space opera and didn't know it. Biological life on Earth wasn't natural, none of it. Every species on the planet was designed, manufactured, and shipped here by galactic corporations billions of years ago. One company, and Errol used this name, was called Bugs and Blossoms. They made insects and flowers. Another company built the larger animals. And these weren't science experiments or research, they were products. Even predator-prey relationships were a marketing scheme. If your company sold gazelles, you also sold lions. More species sold, more profit. Sexual reproduction was a cost-cutting measure. Instead of constantly replacing organisms when they died, you just let them replace themselves. And Earth's greatest minds weren't homegrown either. They were reincarnated ISBEs. Their genius was bleed through from their previous lives as some of the finest officers in the domain. Leonardo da Vinci sketched flying machines and submarines 400 years before anyone could build them. Mozart composed complete symphonies as a child. Nikola Tesla built machines the rest of the world wouldn't understand for decades. Errol said they weren't inventing, they were remembering.
Justice for Salieri!
What?
Yeah, Amadeus?
Oh, right. F. Murray Abraham was great in that.
Yeah, but his name is unfortunate. It just sounds like someone is mad at Murray Abraham.
Thousands of domain officers had been captured and dumped on Earth over the centuries. Trained pilots, engineers, specialists. Errol called them the Lost Battalion. Matilda felt a sudden wave of emotion. Guilt, anger, resentment. Emotions she couldn't explain. Errol sensed this and placed a gentle thought in Matilda's mind.
The feelings you are having are understandable. This is because you know I am telling you the truth. You know this because you lived it.
According to Errol, one of the trapped officers of the Lost Battalion was the nurse sitting across the table. 8,000 years ago, the old empire was gone, but the prison system in our solar system was still running autonomously. The domain deployed a specialized battalion to shut it down. 3,000 officers and engineers built a base high in the Himalayas. The mountains kept them out of sight. Their mission was not to interfere with humans. Their mission was to free them. They spent months mapping the solar system. They identified the processing stations, scanning equipment, and old empire technology that was hidden for years. The officers finally had a plan to take the system down. Then they were detected. The automated defenses didn't see them as citizens of the domain. They were seen as escaped inmates. All 3,000 were captured and processed. They were wiped, reprogrammed, then loaded into human bodies. The officers were sent into the general population. The domain called them the Lost Battalion, and they are still here walking among us with no idea who they really are. Matilda was one of the captured officers. Her ability to communicate telepathically wasn't just random talent. It was training that bled through the amnesia.
Training that bled through? So she's like Jason Bourne. But instead of karate, she got vibes?
Telepathy.
Potato, potato.
Her instinct to approach the alien with compassion, her sense of something familiar, her knowledge that Errol wasn't a threat, these were echoes of her former life. The domain searched for the Lost Battalion for thousands of years, using equipment to detect spiritual energy. But centuries of reincarnation scattered that energy across billions of lifetimes. Identification was almost impossible. Matilda was the breakthrough. Through her contact with Errol, she started recovering memories of her original identity. She saw images of spacecraft. She understood technology she couldn't explain in English. She recognized the techniques the prison used to keep her asleep. For the first time in 8,000 years, a captured domain officer knew who she really was. But that created a problem, because now the military knew it too. Over 6 weeks, Matilda and Errol rebuilt something the prison had destroyed 8,000 years ago, a connection between two domain officers. But Errol shared knowledge that put them both at risk. The military recorded every word Matilda said, but what they couldn't record was the telepathy itself, the communication that happened before Matilda spoke out loud. The stenographer got what Matilda chose to share. The rest was invisible. That arrangement worked as long as the military trusted Matilda. Eventually, that trust ran out. On August 12th, they separated Matilda from Errol. They wanted the alien on their own terms. No nurse, no telepathy. But Errol wouldn't cooperate, so the military decided to use force. Matilda watched from behind the glass partition. They brought in electroshock equipment and attached probes to Errol's head. They started low. When she didn't respond, they increased the current. Electroshock. The military thought they were innovating. It was the same tool the old empire used to wipe memories. Errol didn't resist, didn't react. She looked at Matilda one last time through the glass, and then she was gone. 1 second, awareness behind those large eyes, and the next, nothing. Just a lifeless gray doll on a table. The military spent hours trying to bring her back, but nothing worked. And Matilda knew nothing would. She wasn't sad that Errol was gone. She was relieved. And the military noticed. Whatever Errol shared with Matilda during those 6 weeks, whether it was written down or not, could never be revealed. She was forced to sign documents swearing absolute secrecy. If she ever spoke a word, she'd be convicted of treason and put to death. So she signed.
1947. The government covers up Roswell. They silence a telepathic nurse. Jackie Robinson breaks the color barrier. Big year for Black Ops. What?
Eventually, Matilda returned to civilian life. Over the years, she had brief telepathic contact with Errol. She was able to piece together memories of her old life as a domain officer. She understood the technology and the techniques the prison used to keep us trapped. She knew how to help, but time was running out. She was 83. Her body was failing. Soon she would die and lose her knowledge of the domain and the old empire. She would lose her ability to break the cycle. By 2007, she was out of time. The package she sent to Lawrence Spencer was a desperate and final attempt.
I'll be recycled through the amnesia process and stuck back into another baby body to start all over again, without any memory of what went before. These documents must be published.
In 2008, Spencer released the transcripts as Alien Interview. It became one of the most famous alien contact cases in UFO history. But Matilda didn't live long enough to see it. She died before the book was released. The system that imprisoned her for thousands of years had pulled her back in, wiped, reprogrammed, and sent back to Earth. So there's someone out there right now who has Matilda's memories and the knowledge of thousands of lifetimes. She would be about 17 or 18 years old. She might be working a summer job, studying for finals, stressing about college. Most nights she scrolls through her phone, watching videos, texting with friends. But on those rare quiet nights, I bet she has a strange feeling that she's part of something bigger, that she's important, that she has a purpose that she can't explain. She has no idea that somewhere buried deep in her consciousness, underneath the homework and the drama and the phone that never stops, she has the knowledge to save the world. Alien Interview was a hit. People couldn't put it down. Some said the book didn't feel like reading, it felt like remembering. People wanted to know more about Matilda. What was her life like after Roswell? Does she have children or grandchildren? And the question everyone asked, who is Matilda now? In what body? Where? And if they could find her, they could help her remember. If they worked together, maybe we could finally be free of the prison. The first thing they looked for was her service record. It didn't exist. The military had no record of Matilda O'Donnell McElroy. But according to the book, she changed her name and was put into witness protection. She couldn't be tracked by name. But maybe there were clues in the transcripts, and there were. But there were also small problems. The transcript used words like computer and database in 1947. Those terms weren't common until the 1960s. The date stamps used European formatting, day first, then month, instead of American military style. An Army nurse writing classified reports wouldn't format dates this way. But Spencer said he edited some of the material for clarity, but didn't change the content, so it's possible his additions included some modern language. Then a reader caught something in Chapter 11. In an interview dated July 9, 1947, Errol mentioned Jonas Salk as an example of great human genius. Salk was alive in 1947, but he wasn't that well known. He was just a medical researcher. He didn't become famous until 1955 when he developed the polio vaccine. But maybe Errol had a different concept of time. She was pure consciousness who could travel anywhere in the universe. Maybe she could move through time too. Most people were satisfied with these explanations, but some weren't. The real problems began when researchers cross-referenced Errol's claims against other books. All the evidence was pointing in the same direction. Lawrence Spencer made the whole thing up. But the truth is, he didn't.
Real background music though.
Readers were outraged. Was the book fact or fiction? Did Errol exist? Was Matilda a real person? Well, Spencer said Matilda was real. He even spoke to her on the phone for 20 minutes. She died a few months later. Now that seemed too convenient. Skeptics wanted to see the documents Matilda sent, but Spencer destroyed them. The transcripts, the letters, all of it.
I burned all the original documents. I don't want to spend the rest of my life being hounded by UFO researchers or government agents.
He destroyed the evidence. That's not what an innocent man does. That's what a Clinton does.
Whoa, what is our rule?
We don't joke about the Clintons.
Right.
Did he also smash his computer with a hammer?
That's enough.
Sorry. I couldn't help myself. Go on.
So the witness was dead and the only physical evidence was destroyed. Spencer was now in full defensive mode. He went on radio shows and said the interview really happened. He corrected anyone who said he wrote the book. He was only the editor. He just published what Matilda sent him. But to put any final doubts to rest, Spencer wrote a sequel. The book Domain Expeditionary Force Rescue Mission came out in 2011. It was labeled as science fiction. This time, Matilda is rescued from the prison planet and back on active duty with the Domain. Same characters, same mythology. Immortal spiritual beings trapped in physical bodies, given amnesia and recycled into new lives. Now these were common sci-fi tropes. So were implants, mind control, memory wipes. These details caught the attention of Bill Ryan, who went through Alien Interview line by line. Ryan was a UFO researcher and the founder of Project Avalon. The more Ryan studied Alien Interview, the more familiar it sounded. Doll bodies, implant stations between lives, the galactic war between rival civilizations, the prison planet, religions designed as alien control tools, all described as a space opera. These concepts weren't unique. They were stolen, in some cases word for word, and Bill Ryan knew exactly where they came from: the Church of Scientology. Spencer's book thanked Wikipedia in the acknowledgments. He said the material relied heavily on its page about Roswell. Thanking Wikipedia is not a good sign. And in 2000, he sent an email to Graham Hancock where he admitted he'd been a Scientologist for 31 years. He said a good deal of his earlier book applied the principles of L. Ron Hubbard. Now, he was talking about the Oz factors, but that tells the whole story. Spencer spent most of his life as a Scientologist. His first book applied Hubbard's principles through the lens of The Wizard of Oz. His second book applied the same principles through the lens of Roswell. And remember, his first book, The Oz Factors, was the book Matilda read. It was the reason she chose Spencer as the one person who might take her seriously. The origin story of the entire case traced back to a book based on Scientology.
Yeah, so the whole thing is a conspiracy based on a religion, based on a sci-fi writer, huh? This is like an L. Ron Hubbard turducken.
I don't
Where's
see-
Shelly?
That's
But
crazy,
choosing
though.
Roswell for his next book was a good idea. The UFO community spent decades collecting real testimony from real people who were actually at Roswell. Military officers, intelligence agents, morticians, nurses, people who came forward at the end of their lives with nothing to gain and plenty to lose. Those witnesses exist. Their stories overlap in ways that are hard to dismiss. Spencer used that real mystery as his foundation. He built fiction on top of facts. That makes it feel real and grounded. And look, millions of people love this book. The reviews are amazing. People describe reading it in one sitting. More than a few said the story matched their memories. One person called it the most important book ever written. These people felt something. The source material was fake, but the emotion was real. The prison planet idea does something most explanations of life don't do. It tells you your suffering has a cause. Your limitations are artificial. You're not a random biological accident on an unremarkable rock. You're an immortal being with suppressed power, trapped by forces beyond your control. And someday, if enough people wake up, the prison walls come down. It's a beautiful idea, but it's made up.
Correct.
But maybe that's the real lesson. Not that we got fooled, but that we were so ready to be. Spencer succeeded because people want a reason for why life is so hard. A guy who lost his wife to cancer reads this book and thinks maybe she's still out there somewhere, trapped in the cycle, just waiting to remember. A kid who never fit in thinks maybe she's something more than what the world tells her she is. That's not gullibility, that's hope. And maybe that's enough. We all know how this ends. Nobody gets out alive. And knowing that can feel like a curse. But it also means that every day you get is important. So don't waste time looking for a prison to blame or a cycle to break. Focus on joy right now.
Correct.
If you treat every day like it's your last, knowing you're gonna die isn't a curse. It's a gift. So treat it like one.
Correct, because you say they make real sense. A lot of people just live life. And while they're living the life, they're not enjoying not a moment of it. Yes, and to them, life actually like, you see in a sense, detrimental. Yes, enjoy life each and every day. Life is a journey. It is a battle, right? Try to enjoy it. Do what you have to do that make you happy. Once you're doing what you have to do to make you happy each and every day, you would actually enjoy life. You actually enjoy every moment of it, a matter of fact. 'Cause a lot of people just work, and they don't do nothing to enjoy their life. Waiting until they get old, and sometimes old never come. Right? Old never comes. Why? Because you happen to get taken away before that. And that's just the reality of life. So, hope you guys actually enjoyed this video. You actually had a good time on my channel. Hope you guys subscribe, like this video as well. Go and check out my Twitch. Follow me on Twitch if you guys are actually on Twitch as well. Those are pretty awesome video from the Wi-Fi. You guys could go and check out the original video if you want as well. And I'm out. Peace.